Welcome to Vintage Variety. Today's content is going to be all about Czech jewelry. I'll be sharing some pieces from my personal collection and also giving a little bit of background information and history behind these pieces. I think that by sharing these pieces in my collection, it will give you a good idea visually of what these pieces look like. The first piece that I'm going to start with today is this beautiful butterfly brooch. This was given to me as a gift from my father-in-law. Originally, it belonged to my mother-in-law, and before that, it belonged to her mother. This is kind of what piqued my interest in Czech jewelry. So I began doing research into it and learning a lot more about the pieces. This piece is actually signed. A lot of Czech jewelry, you'll find that it doesn't have any kind of signatures or markings on it. When you do run across a piece that's signed, there are a lot of different ways that it can be signed. This is the signature mark on this piece. It says made in Czechoslovakia. Often you'll see pieces signed Czechoslovakia, Czechoslovakia, Czechoslovak, and sometimes simply Czech. Another thing that I have noticed is that a lot of times when you run across a piece that is signed, Czechoslovakia part will be misspelled. That's quite common. So if you do run across a piece like that, don't think that it's a fake piece, because usually they do have missigned stampings on them. This piece is also signed. This is one of my oldest pieces. I featured this piece in content. When I was doing the content, I realized then that it was signed. I did not make out the signature, so I actually had some viewers that helped me to identify that. See the marking on the piece right there? It's very fine and tiny, but it does say Czechoslovakia. Czechoslovakia was once part of Bohemia and was quite famous for glass making. Made different types of glass, including glass rods and canes that were used to make glass beads for jewelry. What was known as a cottage industry grew up around this, where entire families would work out of their homes making beads for jewelry and making jewelry. And these materials were sent to retail shops in Gablons, which became a big center for costume jewelry and jewelry designers. The Niger brothers are often mentioned as living and working in Gablons. Some glass beaded necklaces here that I'm going to show you. This first one is just a simple glass bead necklace, but look how beautifully done this is. I actually own two of these, and I think pieces like this layered together look absolutely stunning. Just to give you an idea of how big this industry was, in the mid-1800s on into the early 20th century, there were around 6,000 workers and around 300 exporting firms that employed thousands more. 40% of the beads made in this area were being exported to the United States by 1920, where they were used to manufacture jewelry there. This is one of my favorite pieces, and you can see how beautiful this amethyst colored glass is on this piece. And then I have this piece. All the beads on this piece, as you can see, are glass. The centerpiece, we have this beautiful filigree stamping. This piece is done in a blue glass. You'll run across pieces of Czech jewelry that are Victorian, Edwardian, and of course from the Art Deco era. Neiger brothers did a lot of really beautiful pieces during the Art Deco era that were Egyptian revival. And of course, the long glass beads were really popular with the flappers. Here are some examples of some brooches. The two butterflies may or may not be Czech. I know that there were some Czech pieces produced like this. These pieces could have very well been produced in the United States using components that were Czech. But I did want to show them as an example simply because you can see the filigree work on this and the beautiful rhinestones. You'll find elements like this in a lot of Czech jewelry. I'll also be showing you some pictures from a book that I own, and there's a couple of pieces like this, I believe, in that book. Another example that looks very Art Deco, where it's using a solid color cabochon. Then I have these two pieces, very simply done but beautiful. Many Czech pieces will also have enameling on them, such as these two pieces. The piece here was also another gift from my father-in-law. I'm not sure if it was made in Czechoslovakia or if it was made here, but by the looks of it, I'm going to guess that it was. And then I have this beautiful little piece with all of the lovely enameling on it. One has the solid colored cabochon in the center. Another one of my favorite pieces. I love the blue stone in this. It's done on a chain, but we also have blue glass beads. I'm going to flip this over so you can see how beautifully the stone is held in here on the back and on the front. This is another piece, and originally I thought this piece was Niger. I have seen Niger pieces that look a lot like this. I was told by a group that I had joined a while back that this wasn't Niger, that this is probably from the 1930s. This is another lovely little Czech piece that I own. These stones have that brownish yellow amber color to them. I also show this little necklace. You can see that at the bottom it's missing some pieces. This would have been beads that were hanging from it. I had this necklace for a long time in my collection, and I never realized that it was Czech. I am always learning something new. That's one of the fun things about collecting jewelry. I'm going to show you a picture of one that looks kind of close to this one in the book that I own. You can see how it has beads that are hanging from the bottom. The description of these pictures says, "Oiled beads and stones from Gobelins, 1920s." I showed some butterflies a little earlier, and I also wanted to take this opportunity to show you some pictures of the butterflies that are in this book. Some of them are done in all stones, and some of them are done on filigree. And then here we have some lovely enameled pieces. I'm going to take a few seconds to show you a couple of jewelry books that have Czech pieces in them. This one is Worman's Jewelry Field Guide. It's a tiny little book, but it's also very thick. The only thing I don't like about this book is the way it's put together. You can see that it's already breaking apart at the spine. This book does have quite a few pieces of Czech jewelry in it. You can see these two Egyptian revival pieces here. The best book that I have found so far is this one, Baubles, Buttons, and Beads, The Heritage of Bohemia. This book is all about items that were made in the Gobelins area in Czechoslovakia during the time when it was a booming industry, not only for glass, but also for costume jewelry. I don't think this book is still in print. I purchased it used. It's full of history about the area, and it shows a lot of examples of pieces of jewelry, including pieces by the Neiger brothers. It's a great book to own if you collect Czech jewelry, if you're interested in collecting it or learning about it. This is a lingerie necklace that I purchased from Dawn over at Hudson Vintage. This is probably one of the most beautiful necklaces that I own. This one looks like it was transitioning kind of between Art Deco and Art Nouveau. And that's exactly the way Dawn had described it. The piece that you see here is a pendant. I have seen some Neiger pieces that were made kind of like this. However, I cannot attribute it to the Neiger brothers. I do not see enough elements in it to do that. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the Neiger brothers, and I'm going to show you some pieces that I can attribute as being Neiger. Neiger brothers, Max and Norbert, they were Czech citizens and of German nationality. They created very unique and beautiful pieces of jewelry. Because their pieces were so unique, a lot of other jewelry makers attempted to copy their designs. Added to this, there is the fact that they did not sign their pieces. However, their craftsmanship is very distinctive. Many of their popular designs, as I've already mentioned, were Egyptian Revival. They also did Victorian Revival, Art Deco design, Oriental and Indian themes. Of course, we know that the Neiger brothers were also Jewish, and sadly, they were arrested in Prague, and later in 1942, they perished in a concentration camp. This piece is a Neiger brothers piece. I believe that this was once an earring, and perhaps someone turned it into a pendant. I've seen earrings in this style in different colors, and I've also seen necklaces like this. A while back, I joined a private Facebook group that is dedicated to Niger Brothers jewelry. And that's what helped me confirm this piece. This piece is also Niger, and that group assisted me in confirming this piece. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about how to identify Niger pieces. I think that's something you kind of have to learn on your own. I know that the group that I joined, it is a learning group. It's not a group where you go on there and ask them to identify the piece for you, but rather you study their files and pieces that they have posted that are Niger, and you learn to identify them yourself. And the reason I'm not going to go into that is I feel like it would be wrong for me to take knowledge that I've gained from this private group and their files and just put it out there. But I will show you what the pieces look like that I have confirmed as being Niger to give you a good idea. This is a piece that I have not confirmed as being Niger, but I believe it to be Niger. And you can see all the beautiful work on this piece. I could be wrong, but the reason I believe this to be a piece by the Niger brothers is because I have seen pieces that look almost identical to this one. This is a tiny little brooch. This is also a piece by the Niger brothers, and out of all of the Niger brother pieces I own, this one happens to be my favorite. This necklace is also a confirmed Niger. And I want you to see all the details that's in this beautiful necklace. Glass beads. Some of them are square and some of them are oblong. Centerpiece of this necklace, the pendant, with all of this beautiful filigree work along with the enameling. And you can just see how much work and care went into this piece. I'm going to flip it over so you can get a good look at how the back has been finished out. This very Art Deco looking necklace, and this necklace is also a Niger Brothers necklace. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can get a really good look at all the details on this piece. During World War II, and after, once the Communist Party had taken over the area, a lot of jewelry makers moved out of the area and on into Germany. I also wanted to show a few pieces that I have that are marked Germany or Western Germany because they look so much like many of the Czech pieces. Most of these pieces are going to be from a later time. When I run across these pieces that are marked Germany or Western Germany, this makes me think that it could possibly be that the people that made these pieces of jewelry were descended from families or came from families that originally lived in the Gobelins area. Now, this is just a theory of mine, but I am going to show you these pieces right quick so that you guys can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. Not sure how clear that is, but these earrings are simply signed Germany, and the necklace is signed Western Germany. This is not a set that came together. This is a set that I put together on my own. I felt like the necklace and earrings went together well. The earrings and brooch that you see here, they did go together, and I later added this necklace to the set. You can see the filigree work on the back of this brooch. The brooch isn't signed. It's actually the earrings that are signed, and they are signed W Germany for Western Germany. And then sometime later, I ran across this necklace. I believe it was at a thrift store, and I purchased it to go with this set. The good old set completion syndrome that jewelry collectors often suffer from. We'll be having a sale coming up on my channel to celebrate reaching 2,000 subscribers. I'll be doing this sale like I did the previous one. It will be pre-recorded. All the items will have set prices. I like the idea of doing a sale this way because I can take my time about choosing the pieces, and I try to choose pieces that will fit into everyone's budget. I also wanted to mention another YouTuber that shows a lot of Czech jewelry on her channel, and she's quite knowledgeable, and that is Dana Stewart Coates over at Killer Queen Vintage. Absolutely love watching her. Always enjoyable to see some of the beautiful pieces that she finds. I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to share these items with me. I hope that this content has been informative and will help you to better be able to identify pieces of Czech jewelry. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications on more content about collecting vintage and antique items. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.